All right, guys, welcome back to it, man. We're gonna do a little video today, season recap. I'm out on a little local lake here near the house, one of my favorite little places. We having a good time, and I'm gonna fish while I talk to you guys about my season recap. The highs, the lows, the in-betweens, the haves, the have-nots, the could-have-beens. We'll probably talk about a little bit of all of it, which ultimately, of course, ended in a pretty good finish this season. So happy with that. But let's get into the details a little bit.
Stage 1, Lake Conroe, finishing
15th place, Lake Conroe. All right, we're gonna kick it off in Texas. And man, Lake Conroe was a really good week. If you guys paid close attention to that event, I don't know if you remember or not, but literally knockout round with, it was to make knockout. It was day 2. I had 2 minutes left, man. And on my last cast, now us fishermen, we all know about that last cast, right? We always talk about that last cast as actually never the last cast, but it was, oh, baby boy. It legit was my last cast. And look at this guy, y'all. I mean, what is this, like a third of a bass, a quarter of a bass? I don't know. Just in case y'all wanted to see him. We talk about these last casts all the time, and it was one of those absolute like miracle type feelings and moments. It was literally my last cast. I made a cast, boom, I got a bite, set the hook, 2.5 pounder, I make knockout round. It was a big deal. Knockout round, I struggled a little bit, man. I was having some issues getting my live scope dialed in, and it wasn't reading all that great. Meanwhile, I'm fishing literally next to Justin Cooper, who ended up winning the event. And I mean literally next to him. Like I could almost get in his boat at times, and that was just the nature of how we were fishing, just weaving around one another. He was absolutely blasting them. He was so dialed in on just everything. His unit, I'm sure, his bait selection, the whole nine, he was just dialed in. And it was just kind of frustrating to sit there and watch, so I ended up moving away from him just to kind of get away and get around a new group of fish. And man, I made that late. I made that move all too late. I actually relocated another school of bass that I had to myself, and I ran out of time, of course, utilizing live scope in order to catch those fish. But 15th place, a really good finish, man. Honestly, with the way everything went, I was really happy with that finish. No complaints whatsoever. It's just how it goes, you know. A 15th place finish with these boys right off the giddy. I was feeling really good about that. Why you want to bring up old stuff? Why you want to bring up bad stuff, Colin? Oh, Harris Chain, man. Harris Chain was a tournament of the have and the have-nots. And obviously, I have not. I have not caught anything.
Really, the only bomb in the season.
Yeah, that was a bomb. Very, 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 very bad tournament. That was a tournament, if you weren't on a Popka, you know, you just didn't really catch them. There was minimal guys that made checks out of Harris, I would say, and Eustis and those other lakes. And there was a handful of guys. There was 3 guys in the top 10 out of Griffin, and probably a handful other checks made out of Griffin. But it just was not popping on that chain unless you were in a Popka. Now, what's funny about that tournament is right before the event started, we get an email from the league telling us about this massive fish kill. Lake Apopka suffered a bad fish kill, you know, just so you guys know, whatever. Naturally, that's a major deterrent for a lot of competitors. Well, not for everybody. There were still a handful of guys that thought it'd be a good idea to go over there, and they freaking smashed. You know, it was what it was. One thing I do want to point out in this, man, this has been an increasing issue in tournament bass fishing, especially in the BPT, I'm gonna say. And that's guys poaching, man. I hate to even bring that up. That's a negative topic. That's something we don't talk about a lot, but it is just terrible to see these guys poaching. I mean, I'm not gonna go down a list of anglers, but there's a lot of them. And what I mean by that, you had a lot of anglers that did not fish Lake Apopka day 1, so they didn't catch them. Well, the word gets out, oh, they're biting on Lake Apopka. That's where all the leaders are at. So day 2, what do? they all decide they're gonna run over to Lake Apopka. And in my mind, that is just not the move, man. That is not it. That's non-commendable. I got no respect for that. And it's sad, and it's even further, it's even sadder to see some of the names, some of the people we all look up to, including myself, right? Like, these are guys like legends of the game. Like, damn, I looked up to dude. And then you see him doing this sorts of thing. I ain't about that life, man. So if you weren't fishing there on day one, just a little fishing etiquette. If you weren't fishing that area day one and you find out the leaders are there, don't go there day two. You got the whole entire other lakes, in this case, 7 other lakes. Like, go somewhere else, find your own deal. There's fish everywhere else. It was just the bite was hot there. Don't just feel like you can just roll up. That's not it. Especially to my young anglers, you guys are learning the game, and there's unwritten rules and there's etiquette in this sport. And just rolling up on other guys, that's not the move. So what's the opposite of a shout out? A hate out.
Calling them out.
Calling them out, bro. All the guys that did that, bro, that's all bad, man. I ain't got nothing for that. So if you didn't do that though, and you just took it off the chin, like your boy, you finished 57th. So there's that. But I will forever take a L before I do that. I just ain't doing it. So that's my Harris Chain story. I picked the wrong lake. I got my butt whooped and I did not catch them. And that's just part of it.
And then you moved on to stage 3 at Lake Murray and you absolutely smashed.
And then we went to stage 3 Lake Murray and we caught some bass there. Lake Murray was a really good tournament, man. I finished 4th, obviously. A really good week. And I caught them how I wanted to catch them. And that was predominantly skipping boat docks. You know, as the tournament progressed, I did get on a scoping deal that was pretty good. And that's why I finished 4th and not 1st, you know, or not 3rd or 2nd, is because you had to have a stellar scope period in order to win that event. And I knew that going into the day, but I just wasn't on the stellar scope fish. It just was what it was. I wasn't. But nevertheless, man, we caught them pretty good at Lake Murray. Skipping boat docks, they were pre-spawn, spawn. One of my most favorite times of the year to fish. They were sitting in very predictable places on the docks, and so I was very efficient. I wasn't wasting a lot of time. If they had a float, I'd skip the float. That's a lot of time where the bigger females would like to sit. They get up high in the water column and they like to sit underneath those black floats. Those black floats obviously generate some heat. They can warm the eggs up. They set up their high in the water column, then they slide right up to the fronts of the docks, and that's where they'll eventually spawn. Well, the males were sitting on the post, making nests or preparing to make nests. And again, very predictable. So I'd pull up on a dock, and in 3 casts, I got the whole dock covered, and I knew where I needed to place my bait. And just skipping a NACO rig, I was throwing a trick worm, and I was throwing a Crush City, this bait that I'm actually using right now, a Crush City janitor. Yeah, had a little brain fart for a second. Crush City janitor. So those 2 baits, man, got it done for your boy, man, all week, and it was a good week, man. I had opportunities. Oh yeah, jumped in. Oh yeah, man. Did y'all see your boy jump in the water? So just so y'all know, that water temp was 55 degrees. Now, I've been in some 63 degree water that I knew for sure was 63, and 63 is freezing cold. It don't seem like it, but it is. But I had so much adrenaline going, I didn't even think about the temperature, man. But your boy jumped in some 55 to catch him a 4.9 to make the cut. How about that? I thought that was pretty cool. So, yeah, man, Jacob Wall, bro. Yeah, big time, man. And definitely, and yeah, that was a video as well. Shout out to Jacob Wall. Yeah, and that's the total opposite of what took place, you know, at Harris Chain. Some courtesy, some thought went into his decision making, man. He was in damn near last place, and he was leading Angler of the Year, but he was in damn near last. He saw me coming up the bank. He saw me fighting to be in contention to make the cut, and he absolutely pulled off the stretch. Trolled by me, said, hey, Mark, I'm gonna let you have this, man. I don't have a shot at making a cut or any of that. I'd hate to catch one, you know. And I said, dude, that's very admirable, Jacob. I appreciate that, bro. And he went on, and I'd be doggone if I didn't go to that next dock and catch a 4.9. And that was the one I had to jump in the water for. So it was like a lot going on in that little bit of time. But shout out to Jacob for being a stand-up dude, man, and just a thoughtful person, bro. I never had nobody ever do that in my whole career in fishing. He's the first one. And I've been doing this 13 years, man. And that was dope. And that's something that I would definitely do for him in that same scenario.
Yeah, pretty cool. All right, next one, Redcrest, Lake Guntersville, 27.
Lake Guntersville. Man, that was a tournament for me that was missed opportunities. I'm not saying I wouldn't have won it for sure, but I could have had a lot better finish. Where did I finish in that, Colin? 27th. And I think top 25 made it after day 2 or something like that? Or was it the top 20? Top 20. Okay. So, we missed it, whatever. But good Lord, we missed some bass in that event. And good Lord, we caught some non-scorables in that event. That was a fun event, man. That was pretty much a spawn tournament up really shallow, throwing wacky Cincos, drop shots, and flipping and methylate trick worms at dark spots, or dark and light spots all around Lake Guntersville. The issue with Guntersville is always this for me, because it is one of the more popular lakes in our country. It's just the amount of fishing pressure, man, that it gets. And so there were places I wanted to fish, and I'd ease in there, and dude, there'd be 3 or 4 local boats in there. And you just can't, it's hard to compete like that, bro. It just is. You got boats every which way. You don't want to get on top of them either. You want to get in there and fish, but it's just tough, dude. So, I backed off a lot of places that probably had fish that I might have could have went in and stole some, but I wasn't going to cut off some guys, in there, leisure fishing to do so. So we ended up having a decent tournament, man. I think there's 50 something guys in Redcrest. We finished 27th, man. It is what it is, man. I was one of them ones. DC won it. Shout out to my boy for his 3rd win. DC3. And that was very cool, man. Oh. Dude, that was very cool too. That was weird. Look at this little baby. You had to get you some, didn't you, big dog? I know. Oh gosh. 2-minute penalty.
And
Flagrant. And a non-scoreable. Flagrant, bro. Future 10-pounder. For somebody. Not your boy. Where was I at on that? DC. Yeah, DC3. My boy didn't got his 3rd one. That's dope to see, man. That's history being made, and I'm happy to, be so close to that, to see that, man. But don't think your boy ain't hungry to win, man. I really am. I think you guys don't realize, some people, that watch these tournaments, just how hard it is to win, man. These guys that you see winning multiple times, Jacob, Dustin, guys like Ott Defoe, it is really quite, oh man, that was a bluegill. It is really quite the feat, man, to do that. You guys, some of you may have a clue, some of you may not. I don't know. It's just, it's very difficult to see that, and these boys have done it multiple times, and it's very impressive. We've been close a few times, but close don't get it done. Not in these deals. So back to the drawing board. Next season's coming up. I'm as fired up as I've ever been, to be honest with you. And I feel like my time is coming, dude. I really do. And all I know to do is continue to work hard and keep my head down and fight. And that's what we're gonna do. And when it lines up, we're gonna be there. And if it don't line up, it don't. It is what it is. But I'm always gonna give 100%. You count on that. Wow, these bluegill are going crazy.
Next one, stage 4, chick and mitt.
I don't even want to talk about that one.
43rd.
That is definitely the most frustrating tournament. Between that and Kentucky Lake, the most frustrating event this year. I'm gonna say that one is. I finished 43rd, Lake Chickamauga. Lot going on there. It's spawn, post spawn. So you got a percentage of fish on the bed, and you got another percentage of fish moving offshore on ledges. And I'd say it was kind of like a 50-50 on, I'd say, we killing these dinks today, y'all. I'd kind of say it was a 50-50, you know, on how guys caught them. Some guys caught them deep, some guys caught them shallow. Well, I opted to fish shallow in that event. I had so many bites in practice. I felt like I could hang catching spawners, you know. And good God almighty, I was plagued with non-scorables, dude. I think I've caught, I lost count on day one. Over 20 non-scorables, but they had to be 2 pounds. And I'm talking about, these are like 112s, 113s, 114s, like super close, 115s. It was just like, damn it, dude, let me get a break, you know? And it just wasn't happening, you know? But that's part of it. But what frustrated me was so much in that event was, you know, like I said, I opted to fish shallow and fish more of the spawn, the tail end of that spawn. And in doing so, you're just not gonna get nearly as many bites as the guys fishing groups. And I knew that, and I was okay with that. But the one thing is, boy, you gotta keep them on the hook when you get them to bite, bro. So I was getting a lot of bites throughout the course of the day. But the problem was keeping them on the hook. And it was like, I'd catch a non-scorable, like a 110, a 112, a 113, I'd catch. Then here comes a 2.5 pounder or a 3 pounder. Don't bites me, set the hook, jumps, comes off. And like the first like 4 or 5, I was like, all right, I'm just having a tough day. But then I lose like a 4. And dude, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It just hurt so bad, man. I kind of lost my cool. If you guys seen on Instagram, I cut it up. Or if you go back and watch the video, you'll see it too. Man, I wanted to jump off the back of the boat. I really did. I'm just like, bro, this can't be real. And it was on a wacky. That was the other thing. I'm throwing a wacky right now. I was throwing a wacky, single hook, same hook I used at Murray, where my catch ratio was very good. And they're just coming off, man. And it's just so frustrating to get a bite, hook a fish, a bigger fish, watch it jump and come off during the event. It's just part of the game, but there's just certain baits you just kind of shouldn't lose them unless you break off or something, you know? And I feel like that's what a wacky is. When you get bit on a wacky, I mean, other than him breaking you off, he should be in a boat. And they were not in a boat. So that was a very frustrating tournament. Lost a couple good ones on jerkbait too. It is what it is. We finished 43rd. I was very frustrated with that event.
All right, next one. Heavy hitter, Smith Mountain Lake, 14th place.
Heavy hitter, Smith Mountain, yeah. That was a good tournament. Smith Mountain was a good tournament. And you know what, shout out to the league for taking us there, man. I like fishing new places, man. I say it all the time. I love it. I want to go places I've never been, a new challenge, a even playing field. The whole field, nobody knows what's up, you know? I like that. I enjoy that. I think there might have been one local, and that Martin Villa, I think, was the only person that knew something about that lake, you know, going into the event. And I like that, man. I don't want to pull up to them same waypoints I had from 12 years ago. I don't want to do that. Let's start from scratch and let's get the ball rolling. So that was a cool tournament. I was catching fry garters in that tournament again. So a post spawn deal that got a lot of fish, a lot of these spawning bass garden fry, a lot, and most of them were around boat docks. So just going down boat docks, man, looking for those fry garters and throwing a nail weight, a NACO rig to them. That was #1 deal for me. You know, I caught a couple on a drop shot doing as well. But the for sure go on that deal was the NACO. Of course, as the tournament progressed, it was really amazing for me to see with my own 2 eyes day by day, the fry, you know, they're maturing as every day goes by. So they go from being, I don't know, a micro millimeter to a millimeter. I'm making these numbers up. I don't know Andy's phrases. I don't even know if that's a thing. But, and as they matured, the male bass got least and least aggressive. It was a trip, man. So there was so many of them that I would see, and I'd toss my bait over there, and they kind of swim over to it, and they're like, no, I don't want that. And I'm like, damn, dude, you don't want to bite that? I couldn't believe it. Where the first day, you know, I finished day one in second place. Every time I threw by one, you see them truly shoot down and go bite it. I'm like, see, there we go. But it wasn't quite working like that as the days went by. You know, they got least aggressive, and so it was harder and harder for me to stay with that pattern. And on the day 3, the knockout round, I decided to go run some new water and throw a frog and try to catch a big one. And you know, I caught a few nice ones, but I never did catch a big one, nor did I catch enough to make the cut. So that was very frustrating, and in retrospect, I wish I would have continued to force the issue with the fry garters. I think I probably could have made championship day doing it, you know, if I'd have just stuck with it. But I didn't stick with it, and it ended up costing me. But a 14th place finish, again, not a bad finish, another good finish, although there's no points involved for that particular event. So, you know, it's not quite as impactful, but it was still a decent event, so. Yeah, that was another one of them. Yeah, man, dude, it's worse in heavy hitters because you have the off day. So you get guys checking out some of the clips online from how guys caught them on the first day, and then they just magically wound up in that area on day 2. And again, bro, it's just non-commendable activity that I just can't, at our level, believe even happens, man. Like, if you ain't on that deal and you ain't got waypoints and you didn't practice that, don't pull up, bro. Don't do it. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know, man. I play the game different, I guess. You know, I don't know. I don't do that. If you see me roll up somewhere, I practice there so I have some knowledge of it, or I got a waypoint right there. And if I see you fishing right there, I'm not pulling up on you for sure. I'm gonna give you some space, you know? And we just got some guys, man, that don't care. Some of them are no longer with us, but boy, they don't care. Let me tell you.
All right, stage 5, Kentucky Lake.
Another 31st, another frustrating event. Let me tell you why. Kentucky Lake. I'm gonna just get straight to it. I ain't gonna even BS y'all around on this one. I missed the boat on the offshore fish. I didn't find them. I straight up didn't find them. Everybody smashed them on the ledges. I didn't really find them. I found 2 schools, and I was like, I can't bank my whole tournament on 2 schools. I just can't do it. So I opted to go to Lake Barkley and fish shallow. And kind of, it's sad to say, I went into that event trying to salvage, save face. I just knew it wasn't an opportunity to win for me. And I'm like, let me try to save face and get a decent finish and get out of here with some good points. I really did. I hate to even say that, but that's how I approached that particular event. So I went over to Lake Barkley and I did what I know how to do, and that's flip bushes. And I had an absolute blast doing it. And I caught some good fish doing it. Had a little guy following me. But when it was all said and done and the smoke settled, 31st. First man out of the money, of course. Shout out Drew Gill for that. But man, I lost the biggest fish of that event. So I look back at it, big fish of that tournament was a 5-pound, 14 ounce. I caught a 6-pounder in practice, and I lost one bigger in the tournament that hurt me so bad. I just could not, for the life of me, let that go. I just could not, man. I was so crushed, so frustrated, so hurt, man.
That was gonna get you back in the
that was gonna get me back in the heavy hitters, bro.
That time you weren't in.
Yes.
And it would've.
Oh, it would have for sure got me right where I needed to be. Because that would have put me up 2.5 pounds on everybody. That would have put me inside that top 30 for sure. Yeah, for sure would have. But I ended up leaving. I did catch a good one. It was like a 4.9 or a 4.10?
You only, at the end of the season, I think you missed it by 14 ounces, something like that.
Yeah, man. Dude, that fish.
And so, yeah, that would have definitely.
Well, and then Conroe, I left Conroe at like a 3.8, 3.9.
Yeah, everybody's catching
6s and 7s. Like, you can't do that. You just can't do that. And then I'm fishing around all them suckers catching 6s and 7s. And I catch it down. I'm like, dude, how is this, bro?
It's kind of like I remember it my first year with you, which was when y'all were fishing for 5. And I think until you, I don't think you caught a 4-pounder in a tournament until you went to like Cayuga. You didn't make heavy hitters that year either, because you, like, for whatever reason, like, you didn't catch a big.
I didn't catch no big ones.
You didn't catch a 4-pounder until like 5 tournaments into the season.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like,
and that's kind of,
which is weird.
For,
Yeah, it is. But you think you'd be able to catch some of them suckers, man. Yeah, they don't understand. You know what's crazy? What I end up fishing shallow, I found that in like 2 hours, and then I was like done. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna run and do this if I have to. Then I went back to Kentucky Lake and graphed some more. Yeah, in 2 days of practice, I spent 15, 16 hours graphing. And I found 2 places where, other guys that done well, they got at least, I'm gonna say 5, 6, 7 places that you hope that you can get 1 or 2 to yourself, or at least be able to rotate on a few of them and pluck one here, there. Like, I didn't even get that. So it was really hard for me to try to stick with that. So I did what I could, man, and I'm not embarrassed to say that. I made out of what I could. I made lemonade out of lemons, so to speak. And to be quite honest, avoided a bomb. I finished 31st. That's not great points, but that ain't bad. So I was able to get out of there with some decent points and somewhat save a little bit of face. Yeah, and I was cool with that because I knew what I was getting into going into it. I'm like, it is what it is. So 7-pounder gone on a flipping stick, Kentucky Lake, made me drop to my knees and cry like a baby. Congratulations, Kentucky Lake.
All right, stage 6, Potomac River, 11th place.
Potomac River, we smashed over there, boy. We absolutely smashed at Potomac. Yeah, everybody smashed, but in this case, we were part of everybody. Everybody smashed at Kentucky Lake, but I wasn't in on that party. I didn't get an invite. I got an invite to the party at Potomac, and we had ourselves a time, man. Very interesting title, taking me back to my roots, man. Of course, on the California Delta, but on the Potomac, I feel like it's even more vital to be where you need to be at the right tide. Because it went from me out, and day 1, after 2 periods, I was in 51st place out of 66. 51st, I was not catching them. Then the tide got right. I made an adjustment. I made an adjustment to a new area, and I absolutely donkey stomped them, dude. I caught like 50 pounds in 1 period, something like that.
Yeah, you went from 51st to 7.
51st to 7, absolutely. And that was cool, man. Like I said, the tide got right. Most of those fish were on top water, so it don't get much better than that. Caught some on a wacky, caught some on a popper, caught a bunch on a chopo. It was just a really fun tournament. Once I kind of got in my element, understood what was going on. And then the other thing, it was really a 2-prong approach. The swim jig, man. The swim jig did a lot of heavy lifting for me too, out there on those grass flats. And I was catching better than average fish doing that. But gosh, Lee, you got to... Oh, this just a baby part. You can't film this one. Oh, it's a bluegill. All right, that's fine. You can film. It's a bluegill. If this was a bass, bro, you can't even film this, bro.
Still got to get a little bit closer.
That's a bluegill, man. That's what these 5-pounders eating that I'm looking for. Damn, bro. Not even like a 1-pounder, bro. Where y'all at? Where they at, Colin? Good Lord, they trying to embarrass your boy. But yeah, Potomac was fun, man. And I was very relaxed. I was very confident. I was very comfortable in that tournament. And those are all really important things, man. When you're out here tournament fishing, you need to be confident. You need to be comfortable, and I was that, man.
It really could have been something special for you if
they didn't get
your tide the whole tournament.
I was losing my tide and we got blowed out, remember?
Yeah.
Dude, I got so lucky rolling over into them places I did, like that duck blind and then them docks over there in that one particular bay, like late. You know, that was a blessing, bro. Cause without them, I don't make the cut.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Didn't it take 90 something pounds?
It took 90 something pounds to make knockout.
Insane.
Crazy. And that was a new record until we decided to fish our last event.
Yeah, so last one, Saginaw Bay.
Sag Nasty.
19.
Sag Nasty, the lower, the gear case eater. The prop eater. Listen, folks at home, if y'all ever go to Saginaw Bay, Michigan, pack you up at least 3 or 4 props and at minimal 2 gear cases. When I tell you you're gonna need it, if you're gonna largemouth bass fish at Saginaw Bay, largemouth now, not out in the big water for smallies. You in them shallow bays, largemouthing, you're gonna need it. I'm just here to let you know that you're gonna absolutely need it. And
unless you plan on idling for like 3 hours.
dude, even idling, you're gonna mess your stuff up idling.
Yeah, true.
Ask DC.
Yeah.
They're gonna get you idling. It don't even matter. So anyways, I love that place though, with that being said. And it's because there's never been a place I've been to with the sheer number of largemouth. I've never seen largemouth school in shallow cover like they do at Saginaw Bay. Oh crap. I just had one. He's probably the same size as the worm too. I've never seen that before, bro. When they school up and shot in the Tulies there, like you go down a stretch of Tulies, man, there's liable to be 50, 60, 70, 100 of them in there. It's crazy. And they bite. Good Lord, they bite. That's just them northern strain bass. But Saginaw Bay, man, I got a wild hair at my butt last minute to go spend a day smallmouth fishing. I love smallmouth fishing. Smallmouth have been very good to me, of course, across my career, and I decided I'm gonna go smallmouth fishing. Well,
Extended boundary.
They extended the boundary from last time. We were able to get out there closer to the actual big lake itself, and we started, and you know, we had the ability to get around areas where the smallmouth would school up, you know, and baby bluegill, and that's exactly what they did, man. Not school up, but I felt like I could catch more smallmouth, you know, with live scope in a period than I could largemouth. I felt like that. Now, was that a wise decision? Maybe, maybe not, but that's how I felt. And so day one of the tournament, I opted to go out in the big water and fish for small jaws, man. I did. And did pretty good. First period caught 41 pounds. I mean, dude, I caught them, and they're big ones, dude. I had big bass 2 of the 4 days, both smallmouth, and dude, and I had the biggest 5-fish bag. Yep. I mean, we caught them, you know, but hey, we don't fish for 5 fish, Colin. It's every fish count, man. So it don't even matter how good of a 5-fish bag I had. But we still had a good period, man. Day one, 41 pounds. And to be honest, I thought I could duplicate that day 2 and day 3. But let me give y'all some game on the Great Lakes. It don't matter what Great Lake you fishing. I've learned this 3 times now. And when that wind blows, them fish blow. They get gone. Certain directions. I'm not gonna say always, it's certain directions, man. Oh, well, you actually got one. This one's not 2 inches. He's not a giant either, but decent little bass. Decent little large head. Hey man, thank you for biting, big dog. Let me get my worm back now. All right. Oh, spitting up. I wonder what that is. I could tell you what that is. I told you all in the beginning of the video, oh, he stinks. That's a bluegill. Golly, it's that time of year, man, when they get up super shallow in this grass on these naked banks. You don't even need cover on the bank. All they're doing is patrolling for bluegill. That's it. Cruising the bank, looking for bluegill. And damn, I touched that thing and he stinks. Ugh. But that's what you can catch right there. I mean, that's a little guy too, but oh,
Grass, wasn't he?
yeah, looking for them brim.
Real shallow.
Super shallow, dirt shallow. He was looking for some brim, but he found me. At first I thought I was on that weed, but then it started moving. I'm like, Yeah, so I did the smallmouth stuff, man, in the morning. Smallmouth, poof, wind changed direction. They didn't poof, I just, you know, it wasn't nearly as good as it was the previous days. That's the truth of it. So, of course, then I was running like 35 minutes, 40 minutes to some largemouth, and I just wasn't on the mega schools of largemouth like guys had, man. They were freaking demolishing them, and I didn't have that. You know, I had some largemouth places, but, you know, it wasn't nothing like that. But it was still, I was still catching them pretty good, and I was catching them absolutely how I love to fish, and that's flipping. I call them flipping and swimming the jig, were the two ways I was catching them. And yeah, man, it was super fun, man. And we didn't catch any big largemouth. The biggest largemouth I caught in 3 days, this is funny to me. The biggest largemouth I caught in 3 days was a 2-pound 14 ouncer. That place has got a ton of largemouth between, I'm gonna say 2 and 3. Anything over 3 pounds is a fake giant. Like for reals.
And that was the last one you caught of the tournament, right?
Yeah, literally, before Lions Out, it was 2-pound 14 ounces. Yeah. And that was the biggest one. I was like, damn. When I set the hook on that fish, it felt like a damn, like a 10-pounder. It's weird. But anyways, so the combination with smallmouth in the morning, live scoping, transition over to the flipping stick later in the swim jig, catching largemouth. And that was my 1-2 punch. Good enough for a 19th place finish. Was not the winning pattern. Shout out to my boy J-Dub on number 10 plus Angler of the Year number 4, man. That dude's something else. If you guys don't already know that, just in case you didn't know, my man is pretty good bass fisherman. He's pretty good. So shout out to him, man. And that wraps it up, man. We 16th place overall Angler of the Year. Like I said, not a great year, but a good year, man. A lot better than the previous couple of seasons in the 30s. You know, we've been in that 36, 38, having to have a top 10 last event just to have a chance at Redcrest and all that kind of crap, man. And that ain't no fun. Nobody wants to live like that. So I feel like we got the ship righted, man. We headed in the right direction. A couple team series to finish off the season this fall. We're gonna vlog those for you, so you guys will have a couple videos to watch this fall if y'all stick with your boy. And we're gonna be back at them hard and heavy next year, man. I promise y'all I'm gonna work really hard. You know, the competition's getting better and better and better and stronger and harder every single year. And I know that I need to do more, work harder in order to be competitive with these guys, man. That's just where the sport's at right now. These youngsters coming in, man, they ain't playing, dude. And I know that. And so guess what? I gotta not play too. I gotta put my best foot forward and work hard and miss some time at home and do what I need to do to get right. And I'm definitely gonna bring that. So shout out to everybody that's followed me and stuck with your boy, man, through all the highs and lows. I appreciate every single one of you guys, man. It's been a hell of a journey, man. Your boy is just a city kid that loved to bass fish from Richmond, California, man. That's it, you know. Inner city on top of that. We don't have a lot of bass fishing where I'm from, you know, and but it's something I've always loved and I've been able to make a career of it for, gosh, man, 13 years going on 14 years now, man, which is crazy. Sounds so crazy. But we here, man. So thank y'all for sticking with your boy, man, and next year's gonna be even better. So we're gonna top this year off, like I said, end with a couple team series events. And we're going to be right back at them come January, Lake Guntersville. So y'all check for your boy there, and we'll see y'all soon.